Hello, welcome. This tutorial is about Chaturanga Dandasana. Chaturanga makes an appearance in most yoga classes, or most vinyasa flow or ashtanga classes. You see them often used in sun salutations and vinyasas, and Chaturanga often gets treated as a transitional pose, but it is a pose in and of itself, and it is one that requires quite a bit of strength. So we'll be working through it with the knees down, we'll be modifying, and then I'll show you some ways to build up towards full Chaturanga with the knees lifted. For this tutorial, you will need a strap and 2 yoga blocks. So go ahead and grab those now, and you will want a loop in your strap. So you can go ahead and begin to find the loop in your strap now as well. If you need some assistance with the loop, you're going to take one end. So one end should have 2 little loops on it. You'll take the end of your strap and it's going to go through both loops, just like this. And then you'll open up the loops and the strap will go over one and underneath the other. And you'll pull it tight, and then you should be able to pull it, making your loop a little bit smaller. And you want your loop to be about shoulder width distance, maybe a little bit wider than shoulder width distance, but just about this wide. So that's the loop. Once you've got your loop ready and your blocks in hand, go ahead and roll out your mat, and let's get started. So make sure you've got your strap handy and you've got your loop in it that is about shoulder width distance, just about, and have your blocks handy. So for this Chaturanga tutorial, we will start without the props and we'll start with the knees down. So go ahead and come into your plank pose, and we're going to start in a modified plank. So we'll start with plank with the knees down. So knees are down, belly still pulling up and in, gaze towards the front edge of your mat. Now from here, the elbows are going to bend back, so they're going to graze the torso as you lower down. And you do not want these shoulders to go past the elbows. So no lower than a 90-degree angle. So once again, coming onto the knees from here, lowering down, staying before you reach lower than 90 degrees in the arms. This is one of the biggest mistakes I see in Chaturanga, is seeing the shoulders dip down below the height of the elbows, and this puts a lot of strain on the shoulders, and over time it'll lead to injuries in the rotator cuffs. So how do we know if we're lowering too much? We're going to use our blocks. We'll start with blocks. So I have the 1 block, but you should have 2 blocks. You're going to bring the blocks just in front of your fingertips in your plank pose. So set up your hands as you would for plank pose, and you'll place the blocks right in front of your fingertips on both sides. Now with the blocks in place, you'll come back into your plank pose. So once again, let's start with the knees down. Let's modify, so modified plank. Gaze towards the front edge of the mat. Now from here, you're going to bend the elbows back towards you as you lower the chest down, and once you feel your shoulder tap the block, you know that that's as far as you're going to go. Lift back up. Come on back down, shoulder to blocks, and lift. So using the blocks is a great way to practice your Chaturanga. If you're trying this for the first time and it feels a lot harder than normal, that is common because this alignment is very difficult. It requires a lot of strength. in the arms, in the shoulders, and in the core. So pulling the belly up is going to help to keep your body lifted so that the weight is not dumping down through the shoulders and through the arms. So let's try that with the knees lifted if you feel ready to try it with the knees lifted. So strong plank, gaze forward, and from here you're going to shift forward on the toes slightly and then bend the elbows back towards you. Once you touch on block, that's as far as you go. Another way to help measure out this distance is to use the strap. So for this, you'll take your arms and put them through the loop you've created in your strap. And the strap will go just above the elbows. So you should be able to bend the arms up and back. And once again, coming into your plank, let's start with the knees down. So we'll modify this plank pose, knees are down. And then same motion, the elbows bend back towards the body as you lower down. And you'll notice that the strap is going to stop you from lowering down too far. And that's exactly what you're looking for. You're looking for the strap to provide that boundary for you so you're not lowering the shoulders down too far. And again, if you're practicing with the knees lifted, you'll shift forward slightly, bend the elbows, come on down, and that's it. That's as far as you go. So you can practice with a strap, you can practice with the blocks. I really love the blocks for this because it really helps to provide that visual representation of how far down you want to go with the shoulders. So to show you what that looks like without any of the props, we'll start with knees down, and the elbows just bend back towards the torso, and that's it. You lower right here, and then you can press back up. If you're practicing a vinyasa, then from here, you can lower the hips, opening into cobra pose, or you can take it all the way down onto the earth if you're just lowering the torso to the earth. If you're practicing with the knees lifted, it's the same idea, but with knees lifted, you'll shift forward slightly on the toes, bending the elbows back, lowering, no lower than 90 degrees, and then taking your transition, coming into your back bend or pressing back up into plank pose. Practicing that press back up into plank from Chaturanga is a great way to build strength. I recommend starting with the knees down, practicing that a few times before moving on to practicing with the knees lifted. Super important to keep the belly pulling up and in, so all of the integrity of your plank pose has to stay present throughout your Chaturanga in order to distribute the work throughout the body. So the legs stay active as well. The entire body is working in your Chaturanga. So let's look at that one more time. Come into your plank. So all of the alignment cues that we went over in plank pose are present here. Active legs, belly pulls up, gaze towards the front edge of the mat. All of that stays active as you shift forward and bend the elbows back towards your body. And there's your Chaturanga. You should be able to stay in your Chaturanga. Chaturanga is often treated as a transitional pose because we see it as a part of a vinyasa where we go from our plank into upward facing dog, and Chaturanga is kind of treated as just this transitional movement in between those poses. But Chaturanga is very much a pose in and of itself in its own right. So you should be able to spend a couple breaths in your Chaturanga. And if you find that you cannot do that, bring the knees down, practice it there while you build the strength, and then work your way up to lifting the knees. I hope this has been helpful for your Chaturanga practice. If you have any questions, please drop them down in the comments below. I would love to answer them. Thank you for joining me here. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.